The haunted phone calls, real cases of the dead calling the living. Some horror stories are just legends. But what if I told you there are documented cases where people received phone calls from the dead? It sounds impossible, but history remembers those who lived through it. Case 1. The call from beyond 1979 Pennsylvania. In 1979, a woman named Doris Bither received several late-night calls from her deceased husband. At first, she thought it was a cruel prank, but the voice on the other end, it was identical to this. He called her by the pet name only he used, and mentioned things no stranger could ever know. The calls continued for weeks, sometimes filled with static, sometimes so clear it was as if he were standing right behind her. Then one night, the voice grew frantic. "Don't go on that trip tomorrow, please." Doris canceled her plans. The next morning, the plane she was supposed to be on crashed, killing 87 people. Coincidence? Or did her dead husband save her life? Case 2. The woman who spoke to her dead son 1967, Illinois. In Chicago, a grieving mother named Marie was woken by a phone call at 2:30 a.m. On the line was her son, who had died in Vietnam months earlier. The voice was weak, almost fading in and out, but she recognized it instantly. "Mom, don't cry. I'm okay now. Please, be strong." Marie later reported that the call lasted for almost 2 minutes before the line went completely dead. Phone records showed no incoming call on her line that night. The operator swore no such connection existed, but Marie never stopped believing her son had reached out one last time to comfort her. Case 3. The chilling black telephone. 1930s, London. In the early 1930s, a British aristocrat kept receiving mysterious calls on his black rotary telephone. Each night, at exactly midnight, the phone would ring. When he answered, a hollow, emotionless voice told him to beware of a carriage accident. The nobleman laughed it off, dismissing it as nonsense, until one foggy night, his carriage lost control on a bridge. He fell into the icy Thames River and drowned. Witnesses later swore they heard the phone in his mansion ringing wildly at the exact hour of his death. But when police checked, the line had already been cut days before the accident. Case 4. The poltergeist calls. 1970s, Connecticut. In the 1970s, an entire family reported being terrorized by phone calls that seemed to come from nowhere. Sometimes they heard a man's voice threatening them. Other times the cries of a woman begging for help. Technicians inspected the line over and over. No technical fault, no prank callers. Eventually, paranormal investigators were brought in. They concluded the voices weren't from humans at all, but from an entity tied to the house itself. After the family moved away, the calls stopped. Some people say these are just urban myths. Others believe they're proof that death isn't the end, and that the ones we love still reach out when we need them most. But here's the question. If the dead really can call us, what message are they trying to leave behind? Life doesn't give us forever. The dead remind us of that. So, what call in your life are you ignoring? Follow Echoes in the Dark for more real stories that will haunt your nights and awaken your mind. In the frozen wilderness of Canada, 1930, something happened that remains one of the strangest unsolved mysteries of all time. An entire village disappeared. The Inuit settlement of Lake Enjikuni was home to over 30 people. Hunters, mothers, children, elders. People who lived their whole lives there. But one November night, everything changed. The discovery: a fur trapper named Joe LaBelle arrived at the village, seeking shelter from the cold. But when he entered, what he found would haunt him forever. The fires were still burning. Meals were left half-cooked. Pots of food still simmered, as if someone had just stepped away. But the people, every single one of them was gone. Not a footprint in the snow. Not a sign of struggle. Nothing. Even more disturbing, every sled dog was found dead, still tied to their posts. It was as if the entire village had been swallowed whole in a single instant. The unnatural silence. Investigators who later arrived confirmed LaBelle's story. They searched the area for miles, no tracks, no blood, no bodies. But the strangest detail, in the village graveyard, several graves had been dug up from the inside out. Some claimed they saw strange lights in the sky that night, unearthly glows moving silently above the trees. Others whispered it was the work of ancient spirits, reclaiming their people. Theories. Over the years, theories have spread like wildfire. Some believe the villagers were abducted by extraterrestrials. Others claim a government experiment wiped them away. And some insist it was a punishment from the land itself, a curse for disturbing sacred ground. But the truth? The people of Lake Anjikuni were never found. To this day, historians, hunters, and scientists remain baffled. The story of the vanishing village is a chilling reminder. Sometimes, the world holds secrets we'll never understand. One moment, life feels safe. The next, everything can vanish, leaving only questions behind. So maybe the lesson isn't to wait for answers, but to live fully before the silence comes for us to follow. Echoes in the Dark for more real stories that will make you question what you believe. On the night of February 1st, 1959, 9 young hikers from the Ural Polytechnic Institute pitched their tent on the icy slopes of a mountain the locals called Kolatsyakal, the Mountain of the Dead. The team was experienced. They weren't beginners. They knew how to handle snow, freezing winds, and the dangers of the wild. Their journals, later found in the tent, showed nothing unusual. They laughed, cooked food, played games. It was supposed to be just another night on their ambitious winter trek, but by morning, they would all be gone. The vanishing? When the hikers didn't return on schedule, search parties were dispatched. Weeks passed before rescuers finally spotted something strange on the slopes, a torn tent sticking out of the snow. As they approached, their blood ran cold. The tent had been slashed open from the inside. Inside, everything was neatly arranged: boots, coats, food, journals untouched. It looked as if the hikers had run out in a frenzy, without time to take anything. What could drive 9 skilled outdoorsmen to abandon shelter, barefoot, in temperatures that would kill within minutes? The first bodies, following strange footprints in the snow, bare footprints, sock prints, even one with only one shoe. The search team discovered the first 2 bodies near the tree line. They were lying face down, dressed only in underwear. Their hands were raw, with skin torn off. It looked like they had tried to climb a tree desperately before collapsing. Nearby, investigators found the remains of a fire, but the branches used were from high up, far higher than a man could reach. Something had driven them to claw at the tree in panic, as if fleeing from something that wasn't there. The others, 3 more bodies, were found next, leading back toward the tent. They were in the snow, crawling as if they had tried to return. They too had no coats, no boots. They had simply frozen where they fell. But the last 4 hikers, their discovery is what makes this story infamous. Buried deeper in a ravine, their corpses told a much darker story. One had her tongue missing. Another was missing her eyes. Several had massive internal injuries, broken ribs, crushed skulls, yet no external wounds. It was as if some force had smashed them from the inside. One investigator compared the injuries to the aftermath of a car crash. And then came the strangest find of all: traces of radioactive material on some of their clothes. The theories. From that moment, the Dyatlov Pass incident spiraled into one of the greatest mysteries of the 20th century: avalanche theory. Some say the hikers panicked after hearing snow shifting, but the slope was too shallow and evidence of an avalanche was never found. Military testing. Others believe they stumbled into a secret Soviet weapons test. Radioactive traces seem to support this. Was it parachute mines, infrasound experiments, a government cover-up, paranormal forces? Some whisper that strange lights seen in the sky that night were UFOs, that the hikers may have encountered something not of this world. Local legends. The indigenous Mansi people believed the mountain was cursed, a place spirits wronged. Some believe the hikers became victims of this curse. The cover-up. The Soviet authorities quickly closed the case, calling the deaths the result of a compelling natural force. What kind of force? They never explained. Files were sealed, photographs disappeared, and entire sections of the investigation were classified. Even today, many official records remain missing. Survivors, families, and researchers have begged for the truth, but they've been met with silence. The haunting legacy. To this day, the Dyatlov Pass is avoided by many. Even seasoned hikers report feeling watched, uneasy, as if the mountain itself remembers. The site has become a place of pilgrimage for those obsessed with the case. Journalists, scientists, paranormal investigators. No one has ever been able to prove what really happened. The Dyatlov Pass incident isn't just a tragedy, it's a reminder that the world holds secrets we may never uncover. 9 young lives were swallowed by something in that frozen wilderness. Something powerful enough to drive them from safety to tear their bodies apart, and to leave us asking the same question decades later. What really happened on the Mountain of the Dead? If you dare to keep searching for answers, subscribe to Echoes in the Dark, because the most terrifying stories are the ones that never end.